Danny bursting can do no wrong. Like, so we just saw Moulin Rouge The Musical, the pre-Broadway tryout. Wow.
Wow.
So where to begin? So it's playing at the Emerson Colonial. So for people who don't know, it's a really historic theater here in Boston that has hosted a lot of pre-Broadway tryouts before. I know Seussical in the year 2000. We love Seussical. But essentially Emerson, the college, wanted to knock it down and turn it into a dining hall. And there was this huge uproar with the Broadway community. Even Stephen Sondheim wrote a note that's like, don't knock it down. So then ATG, the theatrical company, bought it out, and essentially it's been closed since 2015. The last show there was the national tour of Book of Mormon, which I saw my freshman year.
Wow.
Actually, I had to leave early. I got sick eating Emerson dining hall food and had to leave early. But I was... Anyways, so I left, and now it's been closed since 2015, but now it's reopened with Moulin Rouge, the musical.
Oh, I did it upside down. Proof that we went.
Okay, so it's based off the 2001 Baz Luhrmann film starring Nicole Kidman and Ewan McGregor. Love him.
Love him.
We love the show. Have you seen the movie?
No.
Neither have I. We didn't see the
movie.
movie, but I think that's pretty good because you...
Also pretty common, especially for... I think what their target audience kind of was based on the majority of the songs that were picked.
Right.
I think their target audience was kind of a more millennial Generation Z type audience. So I think it would be typical for people to not see it.
For those who don't know or who haven't seen the movie, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I know what they did was they took a bunch of different songs that were popular at the time and put them into the film, which is essentially what they did here, but we'll get into that in a minute. It was a Baz Luhrmann film, and he also did Strictly Ballroom, and so they have the Strictly Ballroom musical playing over in London, which I saw 3 weeks ago, and it was truly one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. It was truly horrendous, and I don't even know how it is still playing. I can't remember the review. I didn't know anything about it going into it, but then we went. Act 1, one of the worst pieces of theater I've ever seen in my whole life. So then we read the reviews, all 2-star, no one gives a show 1 star anymore because that's just rude. But all 2-star reviews, and I forget the review. I'll put the I'll
put the link in the description box below.
But it was one of the worst things to ever grace the London stage. It's still playing. If you're in London, you can check out Strictly Ballroom, but maybe don't. So anyways, I was a little scared going into this Baz Luhrmann musical, but totally different. This was much better, so...
Yay!
He's doing something right. So yeah. I think the first thing that anyone is talking about with this show is the set.
Oh, absolutely.
What did you think?
I thought it was absolutely stunning. I think when it goes
Derek
to Broadway...
Derek McLean.
When it goes to Broadway, because I think it will.
It is going to Broadway.
Yeah, it is going to Broadway. Oh my god. It was, I think, one of the best sets that I've seen. And the scene transitions and the different sets as you went from scene to scene, absolutely phenomenal.
It's truly crazy. I've seen so much theater, especially this summer. For those who don't know, I was in London this summer and saw a ton of theater. It's truly one of the greatest sets that I have seen. He has really outdone himself with this show. You just walk in and you're just wow.
Yeah. There's an elephant statue. There's a literal working windmill on stage right. You look on the stage, there's a huge, almost 3-dimensional Moulin Rouge, neon sign. And then there's, rows of, hearts that go from the proscenium to upstage. And so it's gorgeous.
You can also sit, inside, where the orchestra pit traditionally is. They, have, seats, little cabaret style seats that you can also buy, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Fantastic set. I think that's really what they're trying to, that's what's selling this show right now. They haven't really done a lot of press, the actors haven't done press, at least that I've seen. They aren't doing many interviews or anything like that, but they are really pushing out the set.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to see the show because of this set.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Also the costumes.
Incredible.
Catherine Zuber, Broadway legend, did the costumes. Also just great.
Phenomenal. Really, truly phenomenal. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
I'm trying to think if there's something I didn't like.
In terms of the costumes?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it all.
There's a part in Act 2 where, before we get to that one, do you want to talk about like the basic plot line of the show? Sure. There will be spoilers in this review. We're just gonna say that now. If you don't want to know, yeah. So essentially, Satine is this woman who works at the Moulin Rouge. She's like the big star of the time, and the club is going through some financial difficulties. The man who runs the club, Harold Zidler, played by Danny Burstein. Think of him, he reminded me of like the MC from Cabaret.
Yes.
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if Zidler's like kind of the same persona. Right. But this whole show also kind of just reminded me of Cabaret. Like they're in a club, an American comes over. Just thoughts. So Zidler's like, we need money, and so all of a sudden this Duke is supposed to come to the club, and so Zidler goes to Satine, and he's like, you need to like, with this Duke, so he'll give us money, but Satine thinks that the Duke is actually,
Theodore.
Was that his name?
Theodore, yeah.
Aaron Tveit. I could not think, throughout the whole show, I thought, I was about to say Karen Ziemba. Karen Olivo is playing Satine, and like, this isn't Danny Burstein. He's playing the character, but not Aaron Tveit. I'm like, that's just Aaron Tveit on stage.
Really?
That's what I thought.
Really? Because by the time Act 2 rolled around, I feel like his acting chops really showed off, and his emotional acting chops. And
the amount of times Aaron Tveit, his hair like goes down to like here, just like pulls his hair back and just stands on stage. I'm like, Aaron Tveit's great. Like, I'm not saying he's bad.
He's phenomenal.
Truly one of the greatest singers of this new, younger Broadway generation.
Oh, absolutely.
Him and Jeremy Jordan are probably some of the best singers we have right now.
Absolutely.
We, as in...
We
own Broadway. Yeah, I just couldn't... It was just Aaron Tveit on stage, though.
Interesting.
I don't know. Is that bad?
No, that's not bad.
I was truly surprised by how... Obviously, I know he's like a huge name, but like when he would walk out on stage, the amount of screams from the audience.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's huge.
I know he's huge, but like, is he that huge?
Yes, he was Gabe in Next to Normal.
Okay.
He was also on a bunch of like stuff on TV.
That show, not Homeland, Graceland, filmed like a block from my high school.
Really? Interesting. Well, the plot.
The plot. So yeah, we're back. Sorry, plot. We're just jumping all over the place. So essentially, Satine thinks that Theodore, played by Aaron Tveit, is the actual Duke. So kind of chaos ensues, and we learn that Theodore is at the Moulin Rouge because he's a singer-songwriter, and he's met up with these two other French, like, artistes, and they're trying to pursue, they want to produce a play at the Moulin Rouge. Right. So they think if we get Theodore to like sing a song for Satine, she will like fall in love with his music and help us produce this show at the Moulin Rouge. So Satine thinks Theodore is the Duke, invites him to the dressing room, and we get to, and then all of a sudden like the real Duke shows up and everyone's like, oh no. So essentially now Danny Burstein, the Duke, Satine, Aaron Tveit, and then the two artists are all in there, and the Duke is like, what is going on? And they're like, oh, we're gonna put on a show for you. So they sing this huge, like, giant medley of, this is what the show is about, and they're all just making it up on the spot, but then, after, the Duke is like, I love it. So, like, they actually have to write that crazy show. Right. The song where they're all like, it's gonna be a sailor, and then he's gonna die, and then there's a gun. It reminded me of, have you seen Gypsy the Musical?
Well, yeah, Gypsy.
Gypsy, yes, obviously. You know the song, like, Mr. Goldstone, where they're like, da 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 da, Mr. Goldstone, and it's like, think of, like, the Duke as Mr. Goldstone, and everyone just, like, that's that song. But then, we find out that the Duke, like, wants to take over the club, and he wants, like, he's like, I'll produce it, but I also want Satine to love me, and so, but Satine loves Aaron Tveit, so there's just this huge love triangle that's created. And yeah, and then that's Oh, and then the Act 1 finale is essentially Aaron Tveit, Theodore, and Satine singing. Think of like the Grammy Awards. Think of every Grammy Awards for the past 40 years. If there's a song that had the word love in it, it was in that mashup. Like, what's love got to do with it from Tina Turner?
Yeah.
Like, I any song with the word love, like Google love songs, it was in this medley that they sang together. It was great.
It was great.
But,
the music arrangement was phenomenal.
Yes.
I could have never in my mind. It was very, very good.
Act 2 happens. What even happened in Act 2?
Well, you don't want to spoil the whole thing.
We won't. And I think we should spoil the whole thing because it's a review.
Oh, it's a review. Okay.
Essentially, and if you've seen the movie, you know what happens. Essentially, Act 2 happens. At this point, the Duke is like really in love with Satine, but doesn't want anyone else to like have control with her. But
right.
he knows that, or he's starting to get the sense that she loves another person. And then we come to find out that Satine is also sick with consumption.
Right. Which, if you don't know, like I didn't know.
She didn't know.
I didn't know. It's a lung disease. But it's curable now, so don't worry.
The play, this musical takes place in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So there was no vaccination for consumption.
Correct. But there was Beyonce. Anyway.
This is my main issue with the show.
Okay, wait. Finish the synopsis.
This review is all over the place. Essentially, they just are working on the show, but the Duke is getting angrier and angrier. He's like, I want you, Satine, all for myself. But she's just like such a like good person in her heart. She's like, no, I love Theodore. Yeah. And so essentially, but she's getting really sick and really sick and really sick. Finally, the Duke is like, I'm gonna like pull out all my money, but if the Duke pulls out all his money from the show, then like everyone else in the Moulin Rouge, all of her friends and her family, as she calls them, won't like be able to survive. So like she does it for like everyone else. Right. And then eventually like at the end, like they put on the show, but then she gets really sick and dies.
Yeah.
That's the
but
end.
Her and Theo reunite like finally at the end before
and sing an Adele song. So.
Boom.
Now let's talk about like the actual show overall.
Okay.
So I think it is a great idea to like mash up all of these songs.
Agreed.
Think of like for all those watching, if you've seen SpongeBob the Musical, they like had one song from every like artist and do that. Think of this show as SpongeBob, but like on crack cocaine, like to like the next level up, right?
Yeah.
So songs from the show, I think there's like over 100 artists. Actually, I totally just made up that number. Like Lady Gaga, Florence and the Machine, Outkast, Lorde, Sia, Beyonce, Pink, Britney Spears, Adele, Katy Perry, like, and so much more. They're just usually at the end in playbills, they like have to like say thank you for letting us use like your songs. This entire page is thank you notes for like people. Like that's crazy. And Justin Levine. In the New York Times review of the show that just came out, Ben Brantley was like, pause for you to bow down to Justin Levine. Yeah. Like, truly, it is incredible what he did, mashing up all of these songs.
Absolutely.
At times, it felt it was a little bit like Glee. Like, I think at the end of the day, the show doesn't have too much substance. It just felt like I'm watching a Vegas review, and every single person in the ensemble looked like a Britney Spears backup dancer and like leather harnesses and like, am I wrong? Like, or
no, I don't. I agree with you that a lot of it was interesting. It's like those popular melodies that happen a lot. I think the ensemble though was absolutely phenomenal. And
truly one of the greatest, most talented ensembles I've seen.
Yeah.
And Sonia Taya, the choreographer, who also did the great production of Wild Party at City Center, if anyone saw that. Yeah. She did the choreography. It is fantastic.
Oh, so
like
good.
It's so great, but I think the thrill of the show is people waiting to just like see, oh, what is the next song they're gonna do? Okay. And then when they did it, everyone's like, oh, or people started clapping along or like singing. I hate when people clap along in a musical. Like, it's fine if you're at, like, Mamma Mia and it's, like, the end when they're all dancing and, like, clapping along. But, like, I don't want to see, like, you clapping along in the middle of, like, a musical. Like, this isn't a concert.
Right. And that's something that I think is interesting. Because now we're getting into a new age of musical theater where it's kind of transforming and molding itself. into something that like more and more seems like a concert to me, or like a Vegas show, like something I would see if I went to Las Vegas. And like it's interesting. It was still very, very entertaining, and everyone in the cast was phenomenally talented, and it was very, very good. It was just different for someone like me who's like, and you, growing up like watching very like classical musical theater productions, and then walking in and it's just like so different. Like it's really, it throws you for a loop a little bit. But I don't think that means that it's like
it's not bad.
No, I think if you walk in thinking that it's more of a concert, or I wouldn't even say like a theatrical experience, probably, or.
But interesting you said that. I wasn't. I knew nothing going. Like this is the world premiere of the show. So like we knew nothing going into it. I wasn't expecting so much of a. And I knew like it was gonna be like Lady Gaga and Beyonce and like Katy Perry, and there's like Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan. I wasn't expecting it to. I thought it was gonna be more of a show, like beautiful. This didn't feel like that, and like it's not a jukebox. Is this a jukebox musical?
I wouldn't call it a jukebox musical. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think because I can't fit it into a genre, it's frustrating me. Because I guess, but hits. There's also like, it also follows the classical musical theater setup. There's like a soliloquy, and then another soliloquy, and then there's like an emotional like we're gonna do it gang song, and then there's a big like dance party. You know, it like follows the structure that many musicals like this do. So I was like, but I don't know, because it's also very popular songs that are being played, and like it just really confused me. I couldn't put it into a box, and I think that's why at first I was frustrated. But then as you saw the artistry of like the music and like how it was implemented into the songs and the storyline, that's when I think I got more hooked to it and enjoyed it.
I thought it just felt kind of disjointed, because I felt like there was the storyline of the actual like story, like Satine and Theodore and Danny Burstein, and then it felt like we're gonna do a big production number with the ensemble. Like it felt like they're two different things.
Interesting, yeah.
Interesting. I think it's done. I think it's all the reviews are saying it's fantastic,
right?
And like it is great. The New York Times also said that this was Aaron Tveit's like the role he was born to play. I don't know if I agree with that personally. Nothing against Aaron Tveit. I didn't feel as connected to him as a character as I did to everyone else. I don't know.
The second act, I felt connected to Aaron Tveit.
I feel like with a few more months of development, Alex Timbers, the director, did a really good job like creating this entire world of Moulin. Like you're so fully immersed into the show. Usually like when you're bored, like you'll open and read your playbill. I didn't do that once during the show. So we really enjoyed it. He did great. I just think if they like just make some tweaks to it and just like take some time to simmer, by the time this opens in the spring, it's going to do very well on Broadway and run for a long time. And Derek McLean, Sing It Now, is getting the Tony for Best Set.
Oh, absolutely.